G'day crew, my name is Luke and you're watching the New Zealand Spearfishing Diaries. We got the name for this one from the old African Spearfishing Diaries, which is a bit of an infamous video when I sort of first started spearing. We're going to be uploading shorter videos in this series and more of them. So, yep, we'll get the green screen out and get straight into it. Okay crew, so this episode basically just follows straight off from Spearo Series episode 3. The first dive we did a year ago yesterday, so yeah, coming into the end of spring, headed out to spot in the outer Gulf and yeah, straight in the water and into the pink mau mau. After that we moved on to another spot and I spooked quite a nice snap, sort of just cruising up a gut, and I tucked down into the weed and he sort of doubled back and had a look at me and then decided no, screw that, and didn't get a shot there, but picked up a real dopey little one that just came almost right up to me. I think the snapper was a bit curious about the spear tip, and those ones don't generally get past their jings on. So here's my first little bit of advice for this video, and that is to check for kelp under the flopper. I had this nice snapper out in the midwater here. You can see the spear sort of flings up and I hit it really high. It's non-fatal, but it's not ideal. And the reason why the spear was flying up like that is because you can see this bit of kelp here in the flopper, and the flopper didn't close, so it basically just lifts straight up, and yeah, super high shot, so bit of a bugger. Good to have a little look around and get a bit of meat. Last spot of the day, I had a big male fur seal jump in the water as the boat was coming to pick us up, and basically just created a big barrier of shit right in between me and my mate and the boat, so that was pretty nice of him. After that, we had a pretty cool dive. I got my 120 centimeter Rob Allen gun chopped down to 90 centimeters by Duncan over at Spear Gun Engineering, and converted it into a roller gun. So I went out to test that on the snapper. A few of the boys on the boat were fishing, and just a couple of spearos, so that was quite good for us to be able to have a bit of space in the water. First spot we got in on, first drop over this ledge here, there's two bronzies and just snapper everywhere. I should have sort of waited and tried to get a better fish, but I thought bugger it, there was this one fish just coming right up to me. So you got that one on the boat, and then went back out and down a bit deeper on the same little spot, and I had this fish charging up towards me, and I turned the camera on, and then it turned on just as I stoned it, so you can only see the fish here doing backflips. Would have made cool footage, but the camera was just a bit lagging on it there. But yeah, so another fish in the bin, so can't complain about that. And yeah, the roller was nice and accurate. So after that we moved and did a bit of coastal work. Now it was pretty snappery, and that's something we've sort of noticed over the last few years. It's just more and more snapper, like they seem to be doing really well at the moment. What I did was a kinner burley and a fish burley with a kingfish frame, and I thought I'd sort of film the difference. What I did was I found a nice steep drop and put a fish frame down there, and then I moved probably about 150 odd meters north, and I ended up doing a kinner burley, quite a big one, probably 2 or 3 dives with a smashing up kinner on a, in the How to Spearfish series, what we call like a natural burley, where the kinner are already in quite an ideal position. Had a bit of a muck around and then went and started checking the fish one. Now the fish burley, first time I checked it, it was pretty sharky. I was sort of seeing 2 to 3 bronzies at a time in there, and I'd seen a whole bunch of sort of pilot coheru on a bronzy, and then the shark cut around sort of behind me, and then all the coheru were all over me. I was looking around everywhere, and before I knew it, I turned around behind me and the shark come right up on my fin, and then came back and had another look over here, and had quite a few snapper feeding, pretty confident feeding, with another bronzy being in there, and ended up sort of getting up in over the top of this bronzy to get a shot on a snap, a bit of a long shot. Now this kind of shot here, so basically when you're shooting snapper, you always sort of want to try to get above the spine. If you can imagine above the spine, it's a nice thick bit of meat, but if you can imagine shooting below the spine, you've only got a gut cavity and 2 thin bits of meat that wrap around the guts. So if you go in below that spine, you end up always sort of getting a tear that goes right down towards the pelvic fins. So yeah, that's what I did there. I kind of long shot it and then got a good tear on. But yeah, what I end up doing is either let them go completely and let them get into the weed, because then they just give up fighting quite often, or what I'll do is I'll pull line, and then every time they fight I'll let the line slip completely. You're not gaining line, but every time the fish is running you're just exhausting it, then the fish starts to get pretty tired, and then that's a good way to land them. Now on the way up to Kinnerburley I was checking a few gutters. I'd actually checked this one earlier on in the day and hadn't seen anything in it. I popped over and there was a fish cruising up the gutter. So I was like, all right, take that, bang, and yeah, good bit of luck there. We did need the meat, so yeah, I'm quite happy to take it if I need it. And yeah, boated that one. Now getting up to the Kinnerburley, I sort of popped down over the first ledge and I could see quite a few fish were feeding in there, and then got down to like a secondary ledge and popped over there, and they were just dopey as dopey, like, you know, when it sort of gets into that right up to pre-spawn, when they're having a feed full of roe and milt, their eyes see tiny movements very far away, and like even your head popping over a ledge or something, they'll see it. But yeah, when it comes to, you know, there's a few fish around them or a shark or something and there's a lot of big movements, they just stop noticing those small details, and they can actually stop noticing some big details as well. For example, me coming up and popping over this ledge and giving away this first fish, pretty rare bit of footage for me to get a snapper that clueless right in front of the spear, and at a nice size fish as well. And then yeah, the other one sort of popped out, and then I just decided to take this one here on the left. So yeah, that made some pretty cool, you know, up close and personal snapper footage. Pretty stoked with that, you know. This is all subsistence spearfishing, so this is what we're living on. So it's pretty good to get that big lot of snapper meat in, and also give the roller gun a good workout. So yeah, bit of an epic pre-Christmas dive. Cool guys, so I hope you enjoyed part 1. Now part 2, I'll catch up with my mate from the South Island, and we start off at the Alderman Islands off Coromandel, and then do some work in the Hauraki Gulf. So remember to subscribe if you guys want to stay tuned for that one, and take it easy.